Welcome back as we go in search of Yorkshire's perfect pint. I could just drink that. 100 years ago, the men who worked hard in the factories and foundries of Sheffield quenched their thirst with beer. There were 30 breweries in the city to cope with the demand. Well, I suppose this is a nice place to stop. Here, this is Pale Rider, and it was voted by the Campaign for Real Ale as their supreme champion of Great Britain. It's handcrafted and made by passionate people in Sheffield. Yeah, you can see why. Kelham Brewery is small but perfectly formed. When Dave Wickett set it up in 1981, beer production in Sheffield had dwindled from 30 to just 4 companies.
I opened a minute little brewery, about as big as a double garage, and within 9 years that had become the biggest brewery in Sheffield because all the other 4 had closed.
But their success was in jeopardy when it started raining in Sheffield on the 25th of June 2007. The brewery was completely flooded and beer production stopped.
The insurance company said, all your staff can go away, they would do all the cleaning, sterilising, they'd get all the specialists in, and your brewery would be sparkling new. And the staff said, no, we don't want that. We're prepared to get stuck in. It's our business, it's our building, and we want to get working today.
But a year on, Kelham Island is stronger than ever. Dave is using Big Lad from Green Estate Inner City Farm to pull a 100-year-old dray to deliver his anniversary beer.
You can see why, very unfortunately, the horses went out of favour. The effort to get this ready compared to using a van, it's a lot more beautiful and a vast amount more environmentally friendly. So we're having a celebration, we're doing a special brew. It seems as though we've got suitable weather for it because it reminds me rather of the morning of the flood.
Dave's team has created a special brew to mark the date. It's called Lost in the Flood.
We had to throw away 40,000 pints of beer.
And to keep with the traditions, it's being delivered in wooden casks.
Roll them out from here, guys.
These hold 9 gallons and are called firkins. A barrel is technically the name for a cask that holds 4 times that amount.
Can you imagine those when they were 36s? 4 times that and full, and they would load them up 2 layers high. That's the way to deliver beer. It's nice however you see it, but when you see a horse and dray taking it down the road in a wooden barrel, I think that we've really managed to save a bit of great British heritage, because this was how it was for hundreds of years, and the pride that you feel is absolutely, I think it's terrific. We're dropping the barrels down into the cellar. It's a very old-fashioned method, as you can see. It's a deep cellar, and you've got the 2 wooden runners down there, and the barrel has to be dropped down. Metal only came in the early 1960s. So yeah, the demise of the beer barrel was very rapid. Well, we'll have 2 pints of Lost in the Flood then, please. Today's a terrific day because we've won. Well, cheers to it. Cheers. We didn't let this thing get us down. Yeah, we beat it. Oh, magnificent. Everything worthwhile. Absolutely magnificent.
It's beer makers like Dave who make me proud to be a Yorkshireman. So Kelham Island are definitely in the beer festival. Pass me a handkerchief, Robert. I've got a bit of soot in my eye. Now, another English tradition is the malt house. At one time there may have been one in every town, but now there are just 6 in the UK. They turn barley into beer's key ingredient. Right, well, we're going to Castleford. They're not the biggest, but I think they're the best. And Kelham Island use them. Fawcett's of Castleford supply the majority of microbreweries in the UK with their superior malt. It's a family business that's been around for 200 years. Meeting the boss, James Fawcett, feels like a meeting with Prince Charles.
David, morning. Hi.
Mr. James, you all right?
Yeah, very well.
And this is his palace. I can feel the history in this room.
It's a fantastically Dickensian office, and I'm very proud that we haven't really had to decorate the place because we've won so many awards. It saved us on wallpaper, which I'm chuffed to bits with.
James's day starts with a whole load of brown envelopes, up to 100 a day, with fantastic names like Maris Otter and Pearl. They're barley samples from merchants and farmers, all wanting him to buy.
Here we can see it's a lovely, even sample of barley. If I then lift the grill up, it's got a few screenings in it, but not many. The
What do you mean
grains,
screenings? They're too small, those,
those are
aren't they?
too small. We have to look at the grain very carefully to make sure it hasn't had any damage from pests.
Well, can we have a look at another one, just see if I can see the difference?
Okay. Now, here's a variety called Pearl. There is a barley corn that's no good to me at all. It's something that I'll
So what's
talk
the
to.
matter with it?
It's split.
Oh, it is?
And that is not worth anything to anybody. So
You
I
just-
don't want
you
too
just
many of
spotted
those.
that just by eye,
Yeah.
in amongst all those.
Yeah. I wasn't allowed to buy barley for the first 7 years I was here. My father took a view that you had to see 7 growing seasons in order to gain the knowledge that I would need to become a barley buyer.
Because I really struggle to see any difference between those two.
You would.
Look at these, proper malt shovels.
Oh yes. State of the art piece of kit that. Yeah.
They're brilliant, aren't they?
For turning malt on the floors. Ooh, sorry. Jousting with malt shovels. But you would shovel malt forward and then flick it like that. And it's
Right.
a sort of technique. We're still using some extremely ancient equipment in this malting.
Quite right too, yeah. Right, come on.
Okay, let's go.
The site is absolutely massive.
These are modern maltings in here.
On one side of the road they produce malt in the modern way. All very technical. But this side, barley is turned into malt as it has been for hundreds of years.
This is probably one of 3 remaining floor maltings left in the UK. It is the most ancient way of making malt.
What is actually happening here?
Well, the barley has been into a steep. A steep is a big tank.
It feels damp.
Well, it's been soaked in water for 3
Right.
days.
Right.
During that process, it absorbs water, and that triggers the germination process. Towards the end of that process, I like to come in and check the grain just to make sure that we're getting to where we want to be. I take a grain of germinated barley, I nip the end off, and I squeeze out the kernel, and then I rub the kernel between my thumb and forefinger. And I am trying to get to a point where I get a creamy white line, and we call that the maltster's chalk. And that kernel is what will react with the yeast to create your alcohol and your flavour. And
Feels quite cool.
It is cool. We have to control the temperature. In the old days, before this industrial cooling system came in, which was in this particular plant in the 1950s, you couldn't make malt in the summer because it was impossible to control a germination, and they would run away. In fact, all my ancestors were rather good cricketers because they had nothing else to do in the summer except play cricket.
It's fantastic. It's just like a museum. But everything here is used on a daily basis.
And then we have to march up the floor.
What have I got that?
You'll be ready for a pint after a bit of that.
Oh, it is hard work.
It has to be done twice a day,
For
7 days a week.
7 days a week. And you've 3 or 4 floors like this.
Yes.
Is it the same poor chap who does the whole lot?
Well, he's very strong.
It will be. He'll be built like a shy horse. It's absolutely bloody marvellous. After a short lie down, James takes me through the maze of dusty floorboarded rooms. This isn't a dying process, it's very much alive.
It's fantastic to be making something today. I think,
Product, yeah.
you know, Britain has technically become a service industry. There's nothing that gives me more pleasure than holding something in my hand saying, yes, I know where that came from, and even more exciting, I know where it's going.
Yeah. In the labs, white-coated men do the things that white-coated men do. But while the process of creating malt at Fawcett's hasn't changed for centuries, what the brewers want has.
When I started, I think we did a maximum of 5 to 7 different products, so kind of up to there. Now we do nearly 30.
Is it fair to say that this range has come about to some extent because of this renaissance, if you like, in microbreweries and so
You know, a small brewer, how can he compete in the market other than by producing something of high
special.
quality?
Yeah.
And equally, it's got to be a bit different.
Yeah. Then, just as I'm gasping, James has a brilliant idea.
David, we've had a very busy morning. I think it's time we go and sample some malt in its liquid form.
Good idea.
Right, let's get to the pub quick. It's a very, very interesting pint, that, and very well balanced. So what do we think is in it?
It's a really interesting blend over a number of malts, isn't it?
Yeah, what we've got here is Maris Otter ale malt. That's going to be at least 90% of the constituent grist.
I can taste the sweetness from, what's that, the crystal malt?
The pale crystal.
Pale crystal.
Yeah. And here we've got some roasted barley.
Well, that's darker than I thought it would be.
They can't have put very much.
No, they can't, can they?
No, but again, it's just creating a little bit of flavour that gives this pint a bit of zing, I think. You know, the cask-conditioned ale culture is thriving. Yeah.
Perfect pint. What a great bloke. And that beer was amazing. So good, in fact, I want it in my festival. In the next programme, I meet the lady who makes that award-winning ale from a shed near Selby,
I'll put this last bit in that David missed.
where I help cock it all up. And in the Dales, I try to save the souls of people who drink the devil's liquid. Have we got any lager drinkers here? And convert them to the taste of proper beer. As we continue our search for Yorkshire's perfect pint.